All these presentations about agriculture are making me hungry. Good thing our coach packed us some brain food so we can get through the competition.
Great! A peanut butter and jelly sandwich with the crust. I hate the crust.
Bananas, but these are a little too green. I like my bananas just right so they taste good.
I have fruit snacks. I'll share because I really don't like the purple ones.
Well, we can't go wrong with milk, but it's past its use-by date, and I like my milk fresh.
What a waste!
Hello, we are the Meeker County Ag Squad, and we're here today to present our Science of Agricultural Response Challenge about food waste. Hello, my name is Abby Schiefbein. I just completed my freshman year at Kimball Area High School, where I live on my family's beef farm. I show sheep for 4-H. My family also grows corn and soybeans.
We chose the topic of food waste because it affects all areas of agriculture. We started out talking about field waste. In fact, I started measuring corn loss in my fields at home, but then we realized there was a bigger problem. Hello, my name is Andrew Mossman, and I live on a dairy farm, and we also raise crops, and I just completed my sophomore year at Kimball.
We started looking at the bigger issue around our community, schools, restaurants, and even our own family kitchen. Hi, my name is Casey Goen, and I just completed my 8th grade year at Kimball. My family is involved in agriculture through owning the local grocery store.
And I'm the youngest member of the team by just completing 7th grade. Hello, my name is Bailey Schiefbein. Yes, Abby's sister, so you know my ag experience. We're all members of the Kimball Cruisers 4-H Club from Meeker County. Let's look at some food waste facts so you know why we chose this topic. The Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, of the United Nations keeps tabs on what is grown and eaten around the world. They estimate that 1/3 of food produced for human consumption worldwide is lost or wasted along the food chain. The food chain includes farms like Andrew's Dairy Farm or our beef farm, food service operations like Casey's Grocery Store, and yes, even our home's kitchens. That number adds up to 2.8 trillion pounds of food waste in a year, which is enough food to feed 3 billion people.
Look at this picture that shocked National Geographic readers in October 2014. Pictured here is the Walt family from New Jersey, who represent a typical family of 4 who have food waste of 1,160 pounds of food. Pictured here is 1.2 million calories of food waste in a year.
Those are shocking numbers, but this Ag Squad's from Kimball, Minnesota, town size of 600, and most of us have grown up on farms. We don't waste food.
Or do we? Have you seen the school lunch waste?
Have you tasted school lunch food? So we do waste there, but when we're with our families, we love home-cooked meals, and we want waste food. Kimball knows better.
Or do we? And that's what the Ag Squad chose to investigate. Is there food waste even in our small rural town of Kimball, in the home? We decided to put it into a survey, so we figured this would be the best way to investigate the data. We had to make sure we had the correct wording and measurements to achieve our goal. He is passing out the survey that we used during our project.
After late night meetings, we came up with the following food waste survey. First, we gave the participant a definition of food waste so they know what we wanted measured. Then we had them do it for a week to give us a better understanding. If we only had them do a day, what if that day mom happened to serve burned tuna casserole? We also wanted to know where they shop. Did they shop at local grocery store, online, Sam's Club, or supercenters like Target?
We then designed the survey where they measured the number of cups they threw away in a week. We used the measurement of cups for consistency and ease of measurement. Out of curiosity, we wanted to know what food category was thrown away most. We had bets going on between dairy and meats. The final question about each category was, why did you throw it away? Was it spoiled? We really tried to keep things simple, Sometimes too much work on a survey means it doesn't get done.
Then we had to decide who to survey in Kimball. We decided on our 4-H club, which has over 75 members. We chose them because there was a range from young to old, and there was also number of family difference, from 2 to 7. I put the survey into Google Forms so that families could answer it online on their computers or phones. We also handed out paper forms at the meeting.
And the results came in. We had 20 families completing the survey, with 82 people eating during the week. They ate 228 meals during the week, with the biggest waste being fruit and vegetables at 8 cups per week. By extrapolating out the data, we discovered that a Kimball family would waste 988 pounds of food per year. And the reason it was wasted because the family made too much or they bought too much.
Let's look at this in detail. Dairy was mostly wasted because the family perceived it as spoiled. Fruits and vegetables were also perceived as very spoiled. Grains were wasted because the family made too much or the product was outdated. And finally, meats were wasted because the family made too much.
We wondered if food spoiling was due to them shopping at supercenters, but we found out that they shopped at local grocery stores the most, but they shopped at supercenters the least.
So we figured out the numbers. There was food waste even in our local small town, so we needed to come up with a solution. There's lots of information on food waste on the internet, but after looking at our area, we decided that truly people aren't aware of their food waste. We suffer little or no consequence for scraping edible food into a bin either at school or at home. We then went back to 3 families that had completed the survey and asked them about how they felt after completing it. The overwhelming response was that now that they are aware of their food waste, they will work on reducing their family's food waste.
I'd like to reference my favorite Dr. Seuss book, The Lorax. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not.
So our challenge was then to educate Kimball on food waste. We came up with 4 key points of how to stop food waste and how to reuse material so it won't be wasted. We presented at the Kimball Business Expo where over 700 people came through. Here we had brochures and a board.
I tied all this great information into a 4-H demonstration and presented at County Fair's demonstration day, and we'll be moving on to State Fair.
We also visited the local restaurants that serves on Wednesday nights, where we had brochures and a board set up for the patrons.
We presented to our 4-H club and FFA.
And we also had these brochures available at the local grocery store. Our 4 solutions are simple, and we would like to make you aware of 4 key points in to help stop the food waste.
Composting. So nutrients from food can be reused. There are many websites on home composting, and a few key things to remember: only compost fruit and vegetables, breads, grains, coffee grounds, and eggshells, as meat and dairy products attract rodents, and we don't need their help composting. Another thing to remember: line your compost with newspaper as it absorbs the bad odor.
This is Andrew's compost that he's been working on for about 2 weeks.
Next is plan. Shop your refrigerator before you go shopping and know what you have and how to use it. Plan your menu for you know what you buy, for when you go shopping that's only what you buy. This helps stop the confusion of storing food with best by dates. If we store food, it tends to go bad. Buy only what you realistically need. And buying in bulk only works if you can use the food before it spoils. Also remember to plan at restaurants. Ask about portion sizes and remember side dishes. Also, use those leftovers for your next meal.
Repurpose. There are many great recipe ideas on the web. Here are some ideas I have. Bananas become banana bread. Here, Andrew's passing out banana bread made with overripe bananas. Bread crusts, save them and grind them into croutons, or they can become breadcrumbs. Fruit snacks are great in muffins, and expired milk can be used in many recipes that call for buttermilk, such as cookies. Andrew's now passing out cookies made with expired milk. For all those vegetables and meat scraps, save in the freezer until you have enough for a great broth. Leftover fruits can be used for smoothies, and even a peach pit can be turned into jelly. Yes, there's even a peach pit jelly recipe.
And last but not least, don't forget to donate. You can donate by going to your local food shelf or your local food donation center. Also check out local high schools because many high schools have a food drive. When asked who will benefit from solving the food waste problem, we discovered that 50 to 70 families in Kimball use our local food shelf each month. All the food that we're throwing away could have been used by them. So our club decided to do something called trick or treating. So we go and we pick up food around Halloween time. So instead of asking for candy, we take in local food and bring it to our local food shelf.
And if we want to dream big by making people more aware of the food waste problem, we can help end world hunger, help the world's economy, and save the environment. One last startling fact, if global food waste were a country, it would be the third largest generator of greenhouse gases in the world, behind China and the US.
Our sources of information are listed above here. We'd also like to thank our local mentors, Jennifer Schiefbein, who is in the food science area, Mary Matthias, who is from the Kimball Food Shelf, John Goman, who works at Goman's Foods, and we'd like to thank Jackie Mossman, who was a big part in our team's ideas and plannings.
Yeah, younger sisters are good for something. We look forward to researching more in this area as we would like to go back to our club in a year and see if it made a difference. We would also like to research more innovations in food waste as we would love to create a food waste machine for the future that would turn food waste into fertilizer for a cheaper price. And interesting enough, while we have been here these 2 days, we have been served a buffet and we have seen plenty of food waste being dumped into the trash.
Also, another reason why our people got really interested into this is as producers, none of us want to see our product going in the trash. We work very hard to raise this and make it into a product. So I raise my beef steers and I grow them up and then I find out some of it's going in the trash. And I worked hard to make that. So I feel like it's less rewarding for me because I know somebody could have used that. And Andrew's going to talk about his dairy.
Yeah, on my dairy farm, when I put all that time and effort into raising the cows and then producing the milk, and then I see that go to waste, that is hard for me because I spent all that time and effort, and that could have went to help people, but instead it is wasted when we could do something to change that.
At our local restaurant, for one night, we actually got to bust the tables, and we saw a lot of scraps go in the waste from the buffet.
And being part of a grocery store, us selling the food, we want the people to eat it, but we also check ourselves so we don't waste so much food either.
Thank you, and are there any questions?
You guys just want to stand together so you can all shoot. Get the starter off over here.
Ruth Merrick, Minnesota Farm Bureau Federation. My question to you is, and I think I got a little of it, is that when you want to kind of continue your work and your project, we know that in Meeker County would be one that you have a lot of local growers, a lot of people that grow fruits and vegetables. And when harvest is kind of over, seasons are kind of over, some of those things still ripen out in the field, but they lay there. Do you have any aspirations to maybe work with those people, go out and, as a 4-H group, go out and help with some of those harvests and maybe donate to local food shelves? Just kind of curious about that.
Yes, absolutely. We want to go out there and get the fruit, because if it's not completely overripe, and we can definitely give it to the food shelf. If it's too overripe, we can always feed it to the animals, who will then in turn change it into an animal product in which people can eat.
Adam Burr, Minnesota Corn Growers. So you talked, I really like your solutions that you've come up with, and it sounds like you've engaged some groups in sharing this information. And I think you alluded to it that, in extension world, we talk about best management practices and adoption of best management practices. Do you have hopes in the future of sort of measuring the adoption rates and how well those adoptions stay or persist, I guess, maybe months, weeks, years later?
Yes, as we went to our 4-H club and gave them the surveys, we would like to go back and see if it has made a difference.
Mark Hammerlich, Minnesota Corn Growers. My question was sort of add on to Adam's, and that is specifically with grocery operations, your family grocery. I know that you're under some restrictions because you have to have sell-by dates that you follow and things like that. But while you were working on this project, did you guys come up with any solutions as far as being able to maybe take some of that food and repurpose that, even though you couldn't sell it? Did you investigate that part of the challenge?
We mainly focused on food waste in the home, but we would apply basically the same 4 principles that we used in our main presentation, which is if it's like overripe, then you can change it into the jelly, and then maybe you can bring it to the food shelf if there's too much jelly, and they can then give it to the people. And so it's just this cycle where you just have to keep working with the food.
So in your individual homes, I'm assuming that you had your family track the data and so forth. What changes or what maybe surprised you about the food waste in your own homes and your own families, and what changes have you made to really address that in your own families?
I was really surprised at how much we actually wasted. I didn't know quite as much we did until we started this project, and I know my mom has cut back on buying too much food, and we usually try to repurpose the food, and like we have dogs and cats, so if we have any left over, we try to feed it to them if it's absolutely that we can't do nothing with it.
In our house, our mom has been like trying to buy things that you can only use in certain times, like biscuits. She'll get like a bigger amount and freeze them and only take out a couple at a time to try and use them.
My mom also made me start putting my peach pits in a bag.
In our household, the same as theirs, we've been more aware of our food waste, and we have cut back to where there's almost minimal food waste.
Ruth Merrick, Minnesota Farm Bureau. My question, and it sounds like you have found solutions that you're reducing what you're buying. You're kind of maybe not preparing enough, but I know as I grew up, eat what was ever on my plate, and then that kind of changed with the whole health craze. Just eat only until you're full, watch your weight, kind of thing. Has portion control? Have your families cut down on how much they prepare for supper? Has that changed, or dinner? Has that changed for you, your families, other than just the shopping component, reducing shopping? And I'm curious about that. Do your parents still prepare as much food for those meals as what they always have, or have they reduced that as well?
My mom has become completely more aware of it, and she has like cut down on what we've eaten, especially with my sister gone at college, which is one less person in the house. So she just kind of keeps cutting down until we're like at that right amount that we eat.
We also do a lot of repurposing. So if we have tacos one night, we'll put them in and we'll have tacos, but then we'll save the meat and maybe put them into enchiladas. in a couple of days so that we're using the meat to its full value?
We used to have a lot of extra food left over after we're done eating, but since we started this, we have gotten it down to where we barely have any, and if we do have any, then we usually save it and eat it the next day.
Again, same thing as theirs, but on most foods we have cut back. On some, we do still have some food waste, but we do try to eat it as our next meal.
You know, as I look over and see the recycling bins, I think there's some parallels there. Do you guys see some lessons learned from recycling? I mean, it used to be recycling was kind of a hassle, but I think through awareness, there's been adoption of that. Do you see parallels there with composting as well?
Awareness is, it kind of gets the word out about everything, and so it can be used to help minimize like anything. And so recycling and food waste is pretty similar, trying to cut down on it.
I think composting, eventually there'll be like composting bins where people put their compostable items in there, and then it'll be gone and shipped to like composting plant or something. I think that's where we're headed in the future.
Again, Ruth Merrick, Minnesota Farm Bureau. I recently spoke with a gentleman who actually started a business to capture food waste from large food company across the state of Minnesota. And there was also a TV show, Dirtiest Jobs. Mike Rowe did a whole feature on collecting food waste from the city of Las Vegas and feeding it to livestock. Are your aspirations also to continue research? Because I think you're really onto something about capturing food waste to maybe on a large scale, go to fields for nutrients, soil management, those types of things.
Yes, we are looking to expand on this. This was our starting point, and next year we'll expand more, and as years go by, we'll keep going and finding out new ways.
There's so many different avenues about food waste. You can take it from like more into the cities instead of rural, or you can take it down to the fields or in the production to get to the family's home. So we try to keep expanding on the food waste topic in the following years.
We just looked at rural homes pretty much, and there's so many different things we could look at, like stores and restaurants and so many other things that we can look at. And we just looked at a small town or a bigger city, it'd be a lot different.
One of the main things that we're going to try to look at is into like the restaurants where there's a buffet where people have the choice to take a lot of food versus when they're just handed a certain amount of a portion. Because I know when I go to a buffet, I'm like, ooh, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. And I take a lot, and then I'm like, I'm never going to eat all this, but I can't put it back, so it goes in the trash. So we're definitely going to look forward to some way to reduce that.